Hey guys, welcome back to Ralph's house. We're working on the Fabulous Fables of Famous Freddie here. Illustrations for the story that we're doing there. Of course, Freddie and Rufus are sitting on the riverbank catching catfish, fishing at night. And, we want that old riverbank, we want these trees out here going out, coming out over the water, growing out towards them, and we're just going to cut this stuff in there. All we're doing is drawing shapes and shadows. And remember, this is going to be all different types of things here. Limbs heading off everywhere. Remember, trees have a lot of limbs. They don't just have one or two limbs. They got limbs going everywhere, every direction. Especially these old river trees. They lean out over the riverbank. We're afraid to cut it back and gnarl those roots back in there. If you ever been on a river, you'll see the roots kind of meander everywhere. Little bushes all around them. Just cut it in. When your brush gets drier, use every bit of what you got on there. Just cut that in there. And I want a pretty good dark right along here because the inside of that transom is going to be light. So I'm trying to establish where I want all these colors, where I want things to be. Cut some more trees up in here. Some taller trees heading on up. I used to tell my sons this story. Not a whole lot of people, them guys that look at stars through telescopes and they can tell you where everything's at. Not a lot of them are from Tennessee. And the pretty good reason is, you come to Tennessee, ain't a whole lot of sky. We got a lot of trees. We got a lot of leaves. We got mountains, hills, and ridges. You're usually at the bottom of one. All you can see is all this canopy overhead. You got leaves stuck out here everywhere. This is, again, we're painting at night. But all these trees going back through here. Some of them will be darker, where there's one a little bit. Oh yeah, see, I caught a good dark one there. And carrying it on down. And just, we want these woods to be there. Don't be afraid to put the strokes in there. Cut some more little dark right on in there, back in here. Farther back you go into the woods at night, the darker it gets back in there. Just so you cut some leaves like that, trees back there, and just cut in strokes. We want this to look like a nighttime woods back in there. Get these leaves hanging out over the river, good dark strokes there. The reason I want this dark out here is because when we paint this, well, it's going to be closest to the light source. We ain't even got to a light source yet. Freddie's going to have to figure that out. He's going to have to figure out what he wants to do for light. I also got to have light back in here. Dark back in here, especially we're getting away from the moon. We'll have darker back in here. And trees going everywhere. And that kind of starting to look like an old riverbank back there in the woods. We sure hope so. Might have a log laying on the ground down there, an old holler log there. Riverbank, cut some grass strokes up into it. Put a little limb sticking up there where it used to be. Into that old holler log, just got a big old hole in it. Does that kind of work back there? Well, let's, on the riverbank you see everything. Get that darker in here, pull it down to the river. We want that old dark riverbank. And we got to establish the edge of that river right there. Remember, river runs flat. The water's always, the water level don't lie. So I think we got that side of the woods going pretty good. We got a light colored horse. We get some dark in here on this side of him. Cut it in here to help establish that. Nighttime. Nighttime on the river. It don't get no darker than this. It just don't get darker than this. So we don't get that. We gotta get these darks in here. Well, see, putting all those colors back there, you keep pulling other colors into it. Or not colors, but other darker shades. We're just getting a little bit darker, a little bit darker. So we're getting that growing in there. We'll have something growing up over here. Trees going in every direction. That tree's probably going to split off and have a couple of forks coming off of it. Limbs heading out here and get some more of the underbrush under here. Because all the light we're going to have is the moonlight. Let's cut Freddie's face in there. There we go. Don't lose his hat and his shades. Get some more strokes back here. The background trees back in there. Well, this is fishing at its best. Drifting down that old Tennessee riverbank. This is what life's all about. Man ought to be a fisherman. Gives him time to contemplate. Cipher on the serious side of life. What he's got to do, the kids he got to feed, where the fish gonna come from. This is serious stuff on the Tennessee riverbank. And I bet you have a creek or a river that your daddy's took you fishing to. You're probably one of your favorite places. I know we grew up this way. And I bet most kids did too. I bet they'd like their dad to take them fishing. Take them down to an old riverbank. You know, you don't have to be in that boat. You can be sitting on that old riverbank right there. We used to call that tight line. Throwing a line out there into the river, waiting on that old catfish to bite. That's going to carry it out. It's going to be dark over here where it kind of goes off the screen a little bit. Y'all figured all this mess out yet? It's kind of wild. Get some meandering limbs coming across through here to kind of coming out over the river, cut some strokes. Oh yeah, there's get some lead colors out here that are coming out towards the water. In the dark, things always look bigger, more menacing. You know, it's just these things are reaching out like they're trying to grab you. It's just an adventure. As you can tell by moving my canvas, these aren't real gentle strokes because I don't care. We're just putting stuff in here. We're playing. We're just getting stuff on here to paint into. But that's going to give us something to paint into back there. Maybe a few more limbs, brushes, strokes. I think we're getting there. A little bit more, a little bit more. And this corner up here, so there's going to be clouds up there. Got that tree in front of them clouds. Got that moon coming through here and shining, casting a light on there. And Freddie's going to have let me load a little bit of paint over here. Let me grab some more burn over here. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let me get this loaded up. We'll come back to this. Y'all come.